Welcome to Flippin and Mashing, a pinball podcast show about pinball and sometimes Nintendo stuff that Parnell wants to talk about, or Cruisin' USA Blast ported to the Nintendo Switch. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me, as always, talking about stupid Switch games is...
Parnell!
Yeah, there we go.
That was a very realistic but horrible intro.
Thank you. I mean, all of it. I don't know. To me, it felt right.
Unfortunately, you have now made this podcast only about pinball.
Hey, but you want to know something? Let's just, me and you don't do this very often on air, but we should just give ourselves a little bit of a fucking pat on the back because, you want to talk shit about how I only want to do this and our podcast has kind of become that. We're moving up in the world a little bit. I mean, nobody really listens to us, but we're kind of moving up.
What do you mean?
In 30 episodes, we have went and literally tripled our total listens.
Oh, you're talking about that. That is
Yeah.
impressive. We, for some reason, we have gotten some listeners. 5 more listeners since Steve left.
We've gotten quite a few more listeners.
I feel like you have just potentially paid people off.
So A, you can't confirm that, and B, I plead the fifth.
I also have now made a budget for me to pay people off as well. I feel like by purchasing a P3, we paid Jerry off, right?
Multimorphic, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll clump them all together. Team over at Multimorphic. All of them. We don't want to just call out Jerry.
Oh, good point. He's such a troll. Gosh, that guy.
What do you mean? He is the most pure, nice, loving individual you could possibly get, who never ever plays a trick on Parnell for the sake of it just being a trick so he can laugh at you.
Okay, so I feel like I must be an easy read because he releases, what month was it? August and October or something? He releases 2 things in a row about the same day. So then I'm thinking, based upon pattern, that we're going to get something on the 22nd or whatever of October. So I'm a month ahead, but what month is that?
You can blame that on me.
So then
I
all of a sudden
brought that up.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden it doesn't happen. It's like,
yeah, because
hey,
I had mentioned it.
What is he doing? He's trolling us. That he was like, oh, everybody's going to expect something on the 22nd, and I'm not going to do it this month. Sure enough, he doesn't do it. Then, this last weekend, it's November 15th. So this weekend prior, they were at Expo in Chicago. No, Houston. I'm sorry. Houston. And they just released new cabinet art for the P3.
It looks awesome. I like it.
Yeah. It's Jerry had stated, or Multimorphic had stated, it's like a generic cabinet art that would look good with any game that you had in the playfield. And yeah, it looks great. Looks kind of futuristic, looks kind of tech mech. Tech mech, is that the new technology but mechology mixed together, kind of like Tex-Mex?
I mean, it kind of looks like a
oh my god, coin that term, tech mech.
It kind of looks like a Transformer mixed with like a Gundam, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, kind of Back to the Future, like Vile, almost. Yeah, I mean, it's a really neat look. And Gamma Goat had posted some picture of some metal on the wall to try to get the cabinet art to hang so he could store it and get the new stuff. And I was like, dang, that's a good idea. My game room, though, has turned into quote unquote, holiday living room, so I'm not too sure how much I could probably hang the P3 art. If the magnets on the P3 were strong enough, I could just put the art on top of my heist art.
That's true.
Do they make rare earth thin magnet that we could just stick on the machine to make it even thicker?
Potentially.
Okay, so if they ever release, when they release the new stuff, the new game, I would like to add to my order like a bunch of the apron, because the apron magnets are pretty small, so that should be easy. And then the plastics. I was gonna get the plastics to match a bunch of the games, just because they just chuck it in the
Just throw
box.
money at Jerry. Yeah.
No, it's free shipping. I'm saving money, Ryan. quote
Oh,
quote shopping logic. I save money by
yes.
buying more.
Gotcha. Yep.
I'm,
Yep.
Jerry, he should have coupons, and we could cut them out and be like, save some money and buy stuff at the same time.
You're right.
Black
We
Friday's
should.
coming up.
He should. Yep. No, I'm sure he'll have Black Friday, and it'll be free shipping on anything that isn't a pinball machine. And that'll be his Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
Save 10%, but add 10% for extra shipping.
Yep. Or he could always do the whole like, if you come into the store or the shop, I'll sell you anything, free shipping.
Okay, so we need a plane ticket.
We do.
We'll
That's
go pick it up
weirdly going to be
instead.
more than shipping. Yep. I think that's going to be more expensive than you probably paid to ship your P3, but let's do it.
All right. Maybe we'll do that then.
Okay. What are you drinking tonight, buddy?
Hang on. Ryan, do you know what episode this is?
Isn't it episode 80?
You cheater. You looked at the label. It is episode 80.
No, I did show notes.
You did. Yes, you did.
Yeah, and do you want to know what folder the show notes are in?
Episode 81.
Episode 80.
Hey, we're doing pretty good.
We are. Well, okay. Actually, we need to talk about that real quick. I just sent you a link to shop.numodart.com X2 True Timber Cambo with black trim for your children, because they're getting out of hand.
What is this?
I love you. I love them. That's a dart gun.
This looks like a gun from Jurassic Park.
It should be the pistol. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the pistol one. Yeah. So you just get, like a pony tranquilizer darts, and you just nail your kids with them, and magically they're asleep. And then guess what? Putting the kids to bed never got easier.
Hey, don't worry. This is quiet and the most affordable on a per shot basis gun.
What more could you ask for? I've done all the market research for you. So if any other parents out there need to threaten their children with a dart gun, they are for sale to, it looks like, anybody. You can just go buy one of these and chase the kids around the house with it.
There was that SNL skit where they were like chloroforming their kids. My kid sleeps in a shoebox, and it's like, that was pretty funny. Maybe I'll link that in the show notes.
Perfect.
So I gotta add that to the notes. SNL kids sleep skit. Ha ha
Yeah.
ha.
So we actually have been awful at this, and I'm gonna blame you. It's a little bit my fault too, but I'm gonna blame you, because there's been a bunch of nights where I was ready to record, but we just weren't able to make it happen.
Yeah.
My guy.
There was a lot of children.
Yeah,
And then
that's
there was
why
a
I
lot
got
of
you this dart gun. Surprise! I'm your secret Santa. This is what I'm getting you for Christmas.
Perfect. I can't wait to use it on everybody I meet.
But yeah, so we are sorry. I mean, there was a long lapse, and then I think by the time that things ended up happening, I think our last podcast dropped like just last week, which is kind of good, but it's not, because we actually dated it as as Halloween, which isn't so good. So
Isn't that long ago?
sorry. Yeah, no, we did it bad, and we need to stop doing that. So tell the kids they just got to go to bed, or they're getting their melatonin injections via dart gun. But in a more serious note, I'm super happy. I've been on the podcast. I think this is episode 30, like the 30th episode that I've been on.
We could figure it out, but yes.
I'm pretty sure. It was either episode 50 or 51 where I joined. I'm either at 29 or 30. I'm just going to round up and say 30. I don't know. I've had a lot of fun. I think we've been doing it, what, like a year together now?
I was talking to my wife about it. I think it's been a year and a half.
Oh, has it really been that long?
Mm-hmm.
How
And
time
guess
flies when you're having fun.
what?
For the best of
Anyway,
times. Glenn Gooley.
you were asking what I was drinking.
Mm-hmm. What are you drinking?
I have a gin mixed with some sort of sparkling water from Spindrift and orange juice, and it might be my third one. I don't remember. I kind of lost count because I was on the phone with my mom, and she was having me troubleshoot her Roku, and sometimes troubleshooting tech stuff over FaceTime makes you want to drink. So instead of becoming a frustrated Parnell, I became a drinking Parnell. Problem solved. What are you drinking?
uh, you know, just a Lagunitas hoppy refresher. It's the best
Oh,
drink ever.
oh, good. Are you
Now,
gonna buy them out?
I
What?
would
What if they're seasonal?
I don't talk to me like that. Can't handle that kind of rejection, Parnell. This is like literally my favorite drink, and there's no alcohol in it, which doesn't make any sense, but I love it.
What if they had one that was like Christmas flavored?
No. No. There's already a drink for that. I forget what liquor it is, but there's already a liquor
Hallmark
that
Christmas
literally just
movies?
that literally tastes like Hallmark Christmas movies and fucking like Pine Sol. I'm drawing a blank, but I'm
Is it
sure
called
one of our
gin?
listeners
Eggnog? Gin.
maybe really shitty gin, like really shitty gin.
Hmm.
But I like gin, so I don't know.
What flavor brand? What brand of gin do you like?
Oh, I don't know. I don't drink gin that much, but
Oh,
I've had some like actually tasty middle shelf, top shelf gin that I do. I've enjoyed it. But if I'm at the liquor store, I'm not like, oh fuck yeah, I'm getting some gin tonight. That doesn't happen.
what? Why?
What do you mean why?
If you went to the store today, do you know what kind of gin you'd buy?
No, not at all. I wouldn't be buying gin. It's just that simple.
If you were buying gin.
Oh no, no.
Okay, so I don't remember what it was. I thought
Well, we're
it
already off
was
to a good start.
okay. I thought it was Sapphire London Dry, and my wife hated it. I thought it was like, oh, I'll just get the really nice stuff. No. So I ended up drinking this whole bottle, and then all she wanted was Tangeray. Wah wah. That's my
Well,
story. Sorry. That's pretty lame.
no, it's fine.
Uh,
Uh,
so
Normally when
Costco.
I go to the liquor store, I just get there's three things I'm mainly going in there to get. Four, five. Uh, if I'm in the right mood, I'm looking to maybe get some sours. If I'm in the right mood, I might be getting some seltzers or the Lagunitas hoppy refreshers or Fireball or Jägermeister. Those are like my go-tos. I do love some good whiskey and scotch, and I like gin, and I like a whole bunch of other stuff. Not a big vodka or tequila guy though. Those can just no. But the rest of them, they're pretty good. Oh, and I hate red wine.
Mm-hmm.
What were you telling me about Costco
I
though?
oh we just ours just opened in Duluth, and they have like the big Tangeray and then whiskey. So and vodka, like the Kirkland brand is just rebadged other brands. So to stock my newly partially completed dry bar, I might have to go buy some.
How exciting!
I know, right? Like my dry bar is mostly complete. I got the under cabinet RGB lighting I have to finish installing. Then the countertop fiasco just has to get installed, measured and installed, and then the dry bar is dry barred. Wow, oh, I have to like
Now
finish what
then it will be dry.
I have to wire it, like pull the wire. I pulled the wires for the TV, but I have to like finish plugging and getting all my consoles out of storage into the cabinet, which is partially exciting, right? Like there's my Wii U and I don't need a Wii because I have a Wii U. So, oh my god, I get to look at all my consoles. I'm pretty
How
excited.
exciting.
I'm really excited to get my Dreamcast out and finish modding it. Like, you can cut. I have the USB GDMU or whatever replacement, so I can cut out some of the power supply and the CD-ROM or GD-ROM, and get all my Dreamcast games out again and rip them to ISO. And then my 64, really excited about that. However, I found so I have a Nintendo DS Lite, and randomly, I don't know what sparked it, but I was talking to on the Discord, and I was talking to Nick Baldridge, and I was like, "Hey, are there some fun games like the Ace Attorney?" So I loaded up all these Ace Attorney games, snagged those. I snagged a bunch of other games they recommended, and I've been having a good time playing Ace Attorney. I've never played it before. It's freaking hard. Some of these puzzles are harder than I imagine, and it's like it's because I missed the little detail, or I was scared to like what is it called? Present the evidence because I didn't want to get my last warning and then get fired from the case or whatever. So I was scared to
Objection.
present that one. You keep muting yourself too early, Ryan.
Objection.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I'm digging it. I'm on the first game in the series, and I'm on the second trial, day 2 or something. I got to go to Blue Corp. I just found some pictures. It's pretty fun. Nick is excited because he wants to talk about it. I still suck at puzzles, but I love puzzles. So it's been good. I've used a little bit of a tips kind of guide just to kind of nudge me to get the right. Like there was a point in time where I was interviewing one of these witnesses, and I literally could not figure out what I had to present to get it to move forward. And then I read the guide, and I was like, "Oh my god, are you kidding me?" I had to present like the statue on page 5 or 6 of his whatever he's saying. I was like, "That's ridiculous." And sure enough, but the game kind of doesn't let you fail. Like it lets you fail, and then it kind of keeps guiding you forward. So I should be a little less scared of failing. But no, it's a good game. I'm excited. It's been it's been out a long time. I should have been playing it a long time ago, but it's fun to have a DS and I can play it in bed because the Switch is too big. Like it's awkwardly uncomfortable to hold laying on your side, but the DS is all right. The only thing that I have a problem with is my battery is original on the DS Lite, so I got to go get a new battery. Um, yeah. Here's another really really stupid update. Wait, what are we gonna do? How's
Well, I
the
guess
show
we're
gonna
doing
go?
updates right now. I guess we're doing updates. Over here doing updates.
Oh, okay.
Parnell's doing the updates.
I gotta
So
look
what's your
something
update,
up.
Parnell?
I have been reading the Halo book series written by Troy Denning. And my gosh, it was a tough series to get into. Like the way he writes is more for young adult, older teen. But it was just kind of like getting used to his writing style took me I don't know, fifth of a book to get into. But I'm really digging his Halo series. I have not read the Karen.
What's
Go ahead.
what's the author's name again?
Troy Denning,
Oh, yeah, no. Mm-mm.
right? That's the one I bought, right? Let me look.
There's only one Halo book that I enjoyed reading. Oh no.
Uno?
Uh, and it is Eric Nyland's Halo: The Fall of Reach. I did enjoy that book.
Yeah, Troy Denning. Um, I have no problem reading other people's books. I was about to buy the rest of the Gears of War books, the newer ones that were written by the next person, not Karen Travis. But I'm a little worried that it's going to be different because some of the reviews of the book said he tries to write like Karen, but he doesn't make it. And then because the Gears of War books were in between games, and I didn't play those last games, I have no idea what happened. I kind of just instead of buying them, I just didn't. If for Christmas I asked for a bunch of Kindle gift cards, so maybe I'll scoop them up. But the Halo trilogy, I I love Halo. I'm not a hyper fan or anything, but like the really fun part was I learned about the ODST troops, and I didn't really know about them. Like I knew of them because I played the game ODST, but I didn't fully understand what they were versus like Master Chief. So it's been good. It's a fun book. It's scratching my itch on a theme that I really enjoy and getting some backstory to a video game I like. Recently, I was obsessed with the Legacy of Kain book series, or it's not really a book series, but the video game. And there's a bunch of fan novels that I read and I really, really, really enjoyed. And so I was on like a video game kick, and so I was looking up all the video games I could find and think of, but Halo was a big one, and so was Gears of War. So I'm just plowing through the Gears of War, and I'll probably buy his next one. And then I see Karen Travis also has a Halo series, so I'll see what she did. But if you're into that stuff, it's a good read, especially if you can find them on sale or whatever. I know the Kindle. There's like a book club. Where is it? Is it over here? They do a book club where you can spend X dollars a month and kind of get free access to a not every book, but a bunch of books. I think a bunch of the Halo books were in that list. So we will see. Have you read any books? Like, have you read any video game books?
Yeah, I just told you earlier that I liked Halo: The Fall of Reach.
The Fall of Reach.
Yes.
The Fall of Reach by Eric Nyland. Okay.
Yes.
I think his book was at my library, so maybe I'll have to check it out.
Okay. It's
Um,
I really enjoyed the book.
so is that part was that like a after a video game? Or is it like actually in a video game?
No, so that came out I think when Halo 2 was out, or it might have been before Halo 2 came out originally. Like this was the prequel to Halo Combat Evolved. And
Oh,
so
this
it just
is
kind of goes over. Oh yeah, no, this is an old book. This is like Ryan read this in high school or middle school book.
on the cover. It says the origin story of Master Chief. Okay,
Yep, yep, yep.
interesting because in Troy's books, his first one, he brings up like how the Spartans came to be. So this will be exciting to read this
More into the
series
lore.
because
Yep.
Eric had some other books too, like the First Strike, Halo First Strike, and Ghost of Onyx. So like the Halo series is almost, I feel like the book series is almost as big as Star Wars, where it's just like tons of side books or side
Yeah.
quests. So it'll be fun.
Yep.
I'm excited. I don't know, there could be a bad book, but they seem to be all decently reviewed. But
Yeah.
there are
No,
there.
absolutely.
I'm just clicking around Amazon. There's like Troy Denning, Matt Forbeck, Kelly Gay, uh, who's the person that you were? Eric Nyland and Karen
Yep.
Travis, William Dietz. Like there are so many authors. Do you think it like oversaturates the book series, like the story? Like it seems like if you didn't pay attention, some of the artwork on the covers looks the same. Like William Dietz versus Eric Nyland, the cover art is very similar. So you might read the next book and think it sucked, but it's a different author. Like kind of seems they oversaturated it with too many authors.
Yeah. So on tonight's episode of Turn the Page with Parnell and Ryan, I would totally agree that there are certain universes, especially in video games, which I feel are like potentially the worst offenders, where they oversaturate something with books because it's just really popular and it's just that quick buck. Got to make that dollar, man. And these books generally, not always, but a lot of them drop either before or right after a game comes out. And it's like, hey, well, you got that stupid book report you got for school, right? Fucking, why not just read this? And then it's like, hey, man, I was doing something cool instead of just reading, 1984 or some other like great classic. Instead, I was like, yeah, fuck you, literature teacher. I'm reading Halo for my project or my book report. So I think a lot of it is it probably is potentially very geared towards young adults, which is really, who what the market I think historically is always targeted for video games. But there are some good ones for sure. Like the Fall of Reach isn't the only good Halo book that I've heard of. I can't talk to a lot of them, and hearing the amount of fucking authors that just write Halo books makes me very concerned that it is oversaturated. But maybe they all do good work. I don't know. I'm not a huge book reader. I can go on a forum and read until I'm fucking bleeding from my eyes, but a lot of books just don't captivate me.
Is there a brand or series like a universe that you would love to that you would go out of your way to read a book for?
Mass Effect and Doom. Yep, 100%.
I feel like Mass Effect was a book series, wasn't it?
They had some, but the books weren't very good from what
Okay,
I knew.
so if they made a new book series,
Yeah. I read some of one of the books and it was okay, but it wasn't blowing anything up my skirt. I mean, and I know some books take a while to get going. Like 1984 probably took almost what 80 pages, 100 pages before it really started to like pick up and get really interesting, but a lot of books and authors they want to like set the tone. It's like a movie, like the best horror movies aren't the ones where they're immediately like, "Oh, hey, here's a jump scare." Like arguably some of the best movies of all time are very story driven where they like set up the characters and set up what's going on and then they start doing things. So I just don't have enough time. I don't have enough time in the day, I think is what it really boils down to. And I know I could make time, but there's just not been a book series where I've just it's been like, holy shit, I need to stop what I'm doing right now and read. But audiobooks could be cool.
um,
Maybe
I
I'll
used to
maybe I'll try
drive
some
a lot.
audiobooks.
Yeah, I used to drive a lot for work, and I think your commute, when you do have to commute for work, is pretty long. And
Yeah, but
audiobooks
I
were
normally just end up talking to you.
very very true.
Whoops. Yeah.
When you need a break from me, audiobooks would be a good way to pass the time. Uh,
Well, so a lot of our listeners don't know this, but I'm a big audiophile and like music buff. I love music. Uh, so when I'm not talking to you, my break from you is literally listening to my Spotify channels and like my Discover Weekly and the newest releases. Because there's some weeks where I don't even get around to getting through both of those before they change to something else. So
Dang,
yeah.
yeah. I barely get through my podcast anymore. Like listening to my podcast list, I've been trimming that down because I'll hit up a couple favorites, and then when it gets to the pinball podcast, it is they all kind of talk about the same shit. Like when the expos come out, it's like, oh, everybody's talking about this one and then that one. It's like, wow. So I almost don't listen to pinball podcasts anymore.
Except for ours, because ours is the best. It's the
Yeah.
best. It's number one. We're
uh,
amazing.
I also don't drive to. I work from home now, so that sucks actually. Because when I was in the car, I would always have a podcast on. My old
I'm
job,
sure
I
a
would
lot of people listen to us on their
driving to
drives
work.
to work
They're like,
or coming home
not
from work.
not only does my drive to work make me angry, the podcast I listen to also makes me angry because it sucks so
These
bad.
fucking assholes.
So since I don't drive anymore, I listen to podcasts while I'm doing like washing dishes, cooking breakfast, eating lunch. Like that's when I listen to podcasts. It's kind of wild. I almost thought about putting a speaker in my shower so I could listen to a podcast for my 5 minute shower, but just haven't done it yet. Um, and since our lawn mowing season is ended, because I now have 4 inches of snow, uh, I don't get to do that. That was like 2 hours of podcast, but I don't know. It's audiobooks were a great way to pass the time when I did travel for work, but now my book reading is right when I go to bed, and my Kindle, I have the paper white or whatever they call it, Paperlight. it literally within a couple pages puts me to sleep, which is amazing. So I would recommend it. The Paperlight, whatever it's called. It's a great look, and I invert my color so the page is black, the text is white, so that it makes less brightness. But that is that's how I go to bed. I love it. And then I'll wake up and my Kindle is laying next to me. Hopefully after 15 minutes or whatever it sleeps itself, because otherwise it'll die pretty quick the way I pass out. But
So, moving on.
you don't want to. Okay.
Moving
What
on.
is new, Ryan? We had some expos. We got some new info.
We
What's
did.
going
Well,
on?
we've already talked about the multimorphic side art.
Yep.
Um,
They have.
we already
Oh,
go
I
ahead.
read on the forum, Jerry said he has updates that will come sooner than the new game, but they're not tomorrow.
Perfect. Well, that was very informative. So
Yes.
tomorrow, don't be looking for anything. But anytime beyond that point, be on the lookout.
Yeah, thanks, Jerry.
um,
I
yeah,
think
so we
there's.
have.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
You
no,
go
you
ahead.
you think away. You tell me.
Uh,
What are you thinking?
there's supposed to be an update to Sorcerer's Apprentice.
That is true. Yep.
Okay.
Some new call outs.
Yep. Some more Ryan in my life. Well, I don't have a CCR yet, but in someone's lives, which he pretty much said that game sold P3s at Houston. So, quote Ryan, "You're welcome."
Yep. I'm very, very, very happy to know that there are some serious people that like Sorcerer's Apprentice, and I got to be a very small part of that amazing game.
Well, when I played it, it was very challenging. I can definitely see it being a great at-home game because you get to. Because I don't think Kevin from Buffalo Billiards beating it.
Oh yeah,
But you
Kevin
get
Malone.
but you get to collect the magic and then your shield, and then you get to go battle the sorcerer, and it's like it's a it sounds simple, but it's a very hard, deep game. So I am excited to try it again. I think I'll have to get down to your house sometime soon. Just ditch the tranquilize my family, run down,
There you
or
go.
maybe they can come with. I'll just leave them at your house.
Yeah, whatever. I'll put him to work.
I'll put them to sleep too.
Yeah, I'll buy a tranquilizer gun. We got this. Um, so yeah, we obviously have the multimorphic stuff, and it's awesome to hear that Sorcerer's Apprentice and Heist were finally able to be played and experienced and enjoyed at a convention where there were tons and tons and tons of people that had never played either of those games before. So it was really awesome to hear that Pinball Expo in Chicago and the Houston show both had a great turnout from what we heard from Multimorphic. So that
and it,
rocks.
yeah, and it converted to game sales, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, and last I heard, listeners, they are 16 weeks out. Is the number that I heard last? Now, don't come back at us. Don't at me if it's now 18 weeks, or whatever. But we're looking like 4 months out right now. So sales have definitely picked up, which is exciting.
I'm glad I
Very,
have a
very
P3.
exciting. I am too. We got that
No,
new hotness coming soon. Can't wait.
so I think we got the Sorcerer Apprentice update. I think there's gonna be a new feature dropped, and I'm thinking, potentially another mini game. Huh? Maybe
Yeah, I don't know.
Shoot and Scoot 2, 32 player.
Fuck that. We're doing it just like the console wars. We're just skipping 32 altogether. We're going straight for 64.
Oh my god. Oh, I guess spoiler, I bought Shoot and Scoot, so I did buy a new game.
Well, see, you said you didn't have any game room updates. You liar.
Oh, yeah, I have one. I bought Shoot and Scoot, and it's hard.
Yeah. Well, that's a good
It
game for you.
it
Will
is a
make you
great game for
better.
ball control and shooting specific like ball control, getting ball control, holding it, shooting a specific shot. And at the time, I had Cannon Laguna, and now I have Heist back in, but oofta, that game was hard.
Oh, by the way, listeners, another cool tip that I heard on the topic of multimorphic. I found out that you can death save from either side. And that's a feature that Jerry purposely made sure that when they were designing it, you could do. So you can not only death save if you get the left out lane, you can death save from the right out lane. Like either or. Well, I got that backwards. You can normally death save from the right. You normally cannot from the left. But in either case, I think that's super cool that you could potentially do some cool death saves when people are over at your house and immediately tilt. Unless it's Sorcerer's Apprentice, because it just knocks some of your health off.
Is this that conversation where Jerry said his friend tried death saving on the P3 and it was really heavy?
This is the conversation where, yes, someone said they tried to death save and they thought that they threw their shoulder out.
The P3 is very solid.
Jokingly, obviously. They were not being super serious, but they were like, holy jeebus, this thing is heavy. She thick with like 2 C's, let me tell you. But so besides that, we have seen excuse me. I have to bring this up because I was searching around in our Facebook posts. And I guess when we had Zach on the show, we talked about Halloween and how it wasn't going to be that great of a game. And we kind of poo-pooed on it pretty well. Well,
Yeah.
somebody on Facebook had saw that and they posted a reply on the post that I'd made on Facebook saying, hey, latest episode, Zach comes on, we talk about stuff. And the person replied and they're like, wow, you guys were shitting all over Halloween and it's sold out in an hour and 20 minutes or whatever. Sounds like it's going to be a great game. And man, that feeling when you read something that happened 16 weeks ago and it didn't age well, that's it. There's one thing I've been seeing a lot of. I don't know about you, but I've been seeing a ton of Alien and Ultraman owners trying to dump their
You mean Halloween and
their
Ultraman?
games or spots. Yes. So
Yeah, and we've played it because at your wedding it was at Tilt. Halloween was, and I was not a
they're
fan.
the same game.
Sure.
But
So
yeah, no.
yeah, they sold out. The pre-orders sold out. Now there are a handful of people trying to sell their spots, and now they're losing money on their spots to just get out.
Yeah, I think I saw one that they were trying to sell their $2,000 deposit for $1,000. Like they were going to take $1,000 hit to get out of having to get the game when it eventually comes out.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's not looking super great over there for them. But whatever. I'm not trying to say I was right, but
yeah, right. I'll try to say I was right.
You know me.
But I was right.
So, moving on, other updates. I got a new VR headset. So I got rid of the Quest 2. I sold it to Zach. And now I have a Valve Index for the time being. So it's kind of fun. I like it. There's my review. Go get one if you don't have one, because it looks like for the next 4 to 6 months for sure, there's not going to be any new VR headsets. What?
That's your review? I like it. End of story.
Yeah. If you have the money and you want to get into VR, your options today, right now, are a Pimax, a Valve Index, or an Oculus Quest 2. There are other VR headsets, but they're either $2,000 and they don't come with any of the tracking stuff that you need, or there are other headsets that fall in that same realm but don't do it as well. Right now, fortunately, there's really only 2 choices in the sub $1,100 price range in my mind. You either go the Oculus Quest 2, well, it's now Meta Quest 2, or you go the Valve Index, because the Pimax is really expensive and it has bad lens distortion, and it still needs the trackers and controllers that you would get from like a Valve Index. So there's that. And then the other thing is there is the new Varo that just came out, and that's super cool. But it's $2,000, and it also requires the trackers and controllers from the Valve Index. So I was really hoping by now we would have heard about a new VR headset. And Oculus, obviously, or excuse me, Meta, obviously teased one at their Meta Connect. However, it was like a 2-minute conversation, and then they just kind of glossed over the headset that's like quote unquote TBD coming soon. And so right now we're all just kind of in a holding pattern. I think like VR as a whole, like we're waiting with bated breath to find out what's coming next. And Valve is obviously working on a new VR headset. They're getting really close, but they're still probably 6 to 8 months out minimum. Because it sounds like they're going to be utilizing a lot of the same hardware that's actually in the Steam Deck for parts of it. And based on the patents and the firmware deep dives that people have been doing, they're still kind of testing things. So it's not like it does not seem like they have a fully functioning, working 100% headset. It seems like they're still kind of trying to flesh it out a little bit. So yeah, if you're in the VR market, if you want to spend $1,000, the Index is definitely the way to go. If you only want to spend $300 and you don't mind selling your soul, the Facebook Oculus Quest 2, Meta Quest 2 is a amazing headset for the price. But the reason you're getting an amazing headset for the price is Facebook is doubling down on getting all that juicy information and getting all that information on you. So
They're taking all your info and selling it.
and selling it. Yep, and that's how they're making up, because they're selling the Quest 2 at a loss, like 100%. And it's
Well,
not at
yeah.
like a small loss either. We're probably talking like if any other manufacturer besides Meta was selling the Quest 2, it would probably be a $600 headset. Like they are taking a huge loss up front because they want your data. That's what they want. The alien that is Mark Zuckerberg pretending to be a human being wants your data. So,
Well, it
but
explains why
it sounds like
you
it sounds
use
like
a
soon they
Facebook
won't
login.
require. Well, you won't have to do that soon. They're dropping that
Sure.
again.
On the base model or all of them?
All of them. But now you're going to need, eventually, when they get rid of that, you're then going to need a Meta account, which is what Facebook really wants to be
Oh
now,
my god.
anyways. Yeah, they don't want to be a social platform. They don't want to be that. So I'll stop talking, but there's my thoughts on the VR stuff. Moving on to more pinball related stuff. I am finally getting my alien pinball machine. Last time we talked, I had announced that unless something major happened, it was a done deal. Unfucking fortunately, something major happened, and that deal ended up not working out. However, I was able to get in touch with someone who had ordered one, but was trying to get out of it, and I just essentially took his spot over. So, yeah, I have an Alien Standard Edition that's sitting on a boat right now. Literally, it's sitting on a boat with its anchor down off the coast of New York, just fucking sitting there.
Do you think
Supposedly, it's going to get unloaded tomorrow.
it's broken in the box?
No, I don't think so. We'll see. I will. I'm very excited to sit down with you in a couple weeks here, whenever it fucking shows up. and talk about its build quality and the ins and outs of it and everything else. I'm excited. We will see, though, are some famous words that I'm going to use now, which is we will see when it gets here eventually. Because it was supposed to land like 4 days ago and it didn't. And we're thinking the alien owners are thinking it's because of the labor shortages
Mm-hmm.
and there just isn't enough people at the like docks or bays or whatever the fuck you want to call them to unload the stuff quick enough. So there's just like a backup of container shipping boats. Just like it's crazy, but supposedly that's what's going on right now. So
When I do visit, we will have to pop the hood on it. I want to see, like you said, the build quality. There wasn't
I
one at
will
Tilt,
say
was there?
this.
No.
Well, there was. I ended up finding out that game, though, I actually reached out to the owner of Tilt. So that game was an actual prototype. It was not meant to be.
Oh, but I never
It
saw
was
it at
not
Tilt.
supposed to go on location. It was not at Tilt
Oh,
when you were there.
no.
No,
So
it
the
was
one that
on
you
location
played,
for like a week. Yeah.
was okay. You also said, because the game was very dark, that the owner's thread on Pinside said you could turn up the GI a little bit, and people found that there was a certain number that did make it playable.
Yeah, so I guess the game ships with inserts and GI at the setting of 5 out of 10. And from what I'm reading and understanding, you can you can bump it up to like 7 for both of those. And now magically you can see everything underneath the glass. I don't I don't fucking know why it's not just shipped at 7. Maybe the new ones that are on their way here or in the latest update, it just bumps it to 7. I don't know, but Tilts was presumably just set what it came out of the factory, which is 5, and that was way too dark. But you can turn it up to, I think some people were saying between 10 or 12. I haven't gotten a firm answer on that, but supposedly bumping it up to 7 out of 10 instead of 5 is enough to make it to where you can actually see the game and the ball and the shots. Crazy, I know, but yeah. So I'm
I'm
very excited about that.
I've never played one, so I'm excited to play it.
I'm super excited to see the alien eat the ball.
I
Nom nom
I
nom nom nom.
I joke that it's gonna break, but I hope yours works. It sounds like they've been doing a lot of customer service and trying to fix things, and I hope that they do because they potentially have a new pinball company on their hands, and that would be amazing to have another company make good games that actually can ship. So that's good.
I
I hope
mean,
they
I think
I hope they get their stuff figured out.
I think they're trying to make the right steps. They threw out a bunch of stuff that was proprietary, original design bullshit, and are instead utilizing mechs where they can that are Williams WPC era mechs, and that is supposedly helping out a lot. And they are constantly learning, evolving, and adapting. And I will say that even though I don't even own one yet, I've spoken to Kato, their main support guy, a few emails back and forth, and he generally replies within 12 hours. So, like, it's not like they're sleeping on any of this. Um, and everything that I've read in the owners thread of the like 50 or 75 owners in the United States that currently own one have all echoed the same thing. Like, if you're having issues, you generally hear back from them within like a day or two. They'll very frequently, you know, get on a video call or set up a call if they need to on the weekends or at night or whenever it's convenient for you, and try to troubleshoot or go through anything if there is like an issue. So yeah, no, I'm excited, but we shall see, right? Um, that's I'm kind of spoiled by multimorphic, so we'll see how well they stack up to, you know, the kings of the industry right now, if you ask me.
I mean, customer service can go a long way, right? You can have a game that breaks a lot, but if customer service is there to always be there to assist you, while it's
And
frustrating,
fix
you
it,
don't hate it, right? Yeah.
right?
Where if you have a game from some other manufacturer that keeps breaking but they don't answer their phone or email, Like, you just
Stir.
want to, yeah, light that shit on fire.
So, with that being said, I think it's time to move on. Unless there's something else you want to talk about as far as like new announcements stuff. I mean, I've went through my game room updates.
The only thing I can think of is trying to get a TNA.
Yeah, you should do that.
But it would involve selling skill roll, and
We've already had one listener reach out and say that that's an awful idea.
we did.
Yeah, you said you were talking to that person.
God, I don't remember. My brain is so mushy. Oh, Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I really like unique stuff because it makes me feel like I'm a god. Like, hey, I'm this one random person in Duluth that has this game that no one else has. But then no one comes to my house to play it and tell me how cool it is. So it really doesn't mean much because my family does not care. Nobody cares in
Right.
my house.
Well, then
And
when I
so the
come over
skill
and play
roll,
it, it's like, oh, it's kind of fun, but it's just a nickel flicker.
well, no one's really played it yet, but yeah, it is just a nickel flicker. It's a great party game. Great party game. You put
Yeah.
dollars on it, whatever. But I don't have parties much
And you have very
because
limited space too.
I have limited space. I have limited
And
time
your
frame
wife isn't
because
exactly happy with it being downstairs either, from what I've heard through the grapevines.
the skill roll is easier to swallow than a pinball machine, a sixth pinball machine in the basement.
I've still heard that there's been some strong discussions about it not being in that room. I think you're underplaying that a little bit, but that's okay. We can
Maybe.
move on.
My father-in-law will put it in his basement with my EM pinball. However, it won't get played much over there, right? Like, I don't know.
You just want to have two games that are constantly broken whenever you go to play them.
So my thought was, all right, so this isn't going to get played. Like, it's really neat to have. I have a part on order. I have a brand new nickel acceptor on order that's CNC'd off the original. And that's pretty much the last missing piece that's unobtainable. And then it was like, if I fix it and it plays, I'm just playing it myself. Like, my kids will play it, but 3-year-olds are not amazing at gaming. So it's gonna be a couple of years before they can challenge me.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that I'm super good, but I might. I don't know. I might sell it. I told my wife, I was like, "Well, I can sell it if I can get a TNA," and she's like, "Sweet. Uh, we just need to have 5 games in the basement, so I still have to move a game around." But if I move Metallica to my in-laws' house, then I can have TNA in my house and pump the jams up and get my 80s
When?
fix.
When are you going to be able to pump that game? You bitch about how loud the dong is when you try to turn on Monster Bash.
Oh, that is so loud. From 8 a.m. Well, they wake up at like 5. So from 5 a.m. until about 7 p.m. However, I'm assuming if I turn the music down or off, I can play all night long. It just have to have their door shut and their
Or
fans on.
or you turn it on and you don't launch the ball and you just have that and that's when the kids know that instead of Welcome to the Jungle, that's the song that plays because you're coming after them with the dart gun.
Wow,
Like they better be in bed
you're on a
or
dart
it's
gun
hunting
kick.
time. Absolutely.
Shoot the
Your kids
bucks
have a
and
few
the
times.
does.
Your kids have more than a few times messed up our podcast. So, yep. It's dart gun
Um,
time.
this kind of
But
this kind of goes on like I kind of need to sell everything at a premium to try to make as much money as I can to then make my TNA purchase happen. So, I don't know. It's a thought. I thought it was a good idea.
It could be. Very possible. It's a great
So,
idea.
what happened was when I went to your house to play the games recently, I turned on all, well, we turned on all the games, and then we kind of walked down your line. And of course, I've played those games before, but
Actually, I didn't have TNA on purpose. Because I know whenever you come over to my fucking house, you just get immediately sidetracked and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna play one more game of TNA. And then you just end up getting sucked into TNA for like 20 or 30 minutes. And I'm like, Parnell, you're over here to play these games, not fucking TNA. Like, we know what you think about TNA. Like, you love it. It's amazing. You kind of want one,
go
but
play
that's not
Elvira
why you're here
again.
today.
No,
Absolutely, because it was leaving. Like,
well, we didn't talk about it until after, but Elvira was like, "Bow, bow, bow, bow," and I did not want to stop playing TNA, and that has been the case every time I played it. So I think it potentially is time. So that's my only game room update. Otherwise, I've just been putting a bunch of mods in. I put the new speaker grills on my Monster Bash and Medieval today that I got from Switzerland guy on Pinside who sells these metal cut. I'm looking for it right now. Here it is. Where is his country? He does these metal cut Lins. I don't know where that is. It's somewhere in Europe, but he does these metal cut speaker grills for the CGC games, and they're pretty cool looking. And finally, I pulled the trigger on it because I had two, and he offered a discount of sorts when you ordered more than one. I think it was on shipping, obviously, but yeah, I like it. He hit me up about. I actually asked him about Cactus Canyon. He said not yet, and then all of a sudden he hit me up and said, "How do you like this?" And I said, "Hey, that looks pretty sweet." It was the two handguns, and looks like he's made them and has his first order purchased out or bought out. So when my Cactus Canyon actually arrives, I'll probably buy them. Uh, I didn't think they were going to be as cool as they are because the stock ones is just a metal circle around the speaker, and now I have like themed speaker grills, and they look pretty cool. I had my games on all day while I was working, and when I'd walk by them to get water or food or whatever, I was like, "Oh, damn, that's so sweet looking." So
yeah, I guess the last update I have is I did put some mods into Godzilla. Unfortunately, some friend I have forgot to bring some shit over to my house, so it doesn't have all the mods in it, but I do have a replacement Godzilla figure that's interactive from Lure Mods and the interactive Mecha Godzilla figure that replaces the stand-up plastic for that on the Pro as well. So I now have actual Godzilla figures in my game. So it's like I got a Promium. And then I do have on order with T Diddy, Diddy's Mods. I have their Tesla Coil Towers mod that's interactive ordered, and I also have their building replacement that's like this really cool 3D printed. I don't know if it's a sleeve or what the fuck it is, but it goes over the building that it currently comes with, and I think it looks really cool. So I'm pretty excited for that. That's about it.
just brag about your Godzilla. It's okay.
Dude, I fucking love it. It's great.
Do you scan your stupid QR code every time you play it?
If I have my phone with me, yes.
Did you
So sometimes,
figure out a better way to scan your QR than like taking a screenshot of your screen to save?
no, because until Stern comes out with an app where I just press a button and it brings up the QR code, that's not going to happen.
Ugh, it's
Because I'm
so
not logging into the fucking website to then navigate to the section where I can talk about shitty user experience.
yeah. So this is the worst user experience. So on the forum, I had read that hey, take a screenshot of your QR code so you can keep it in your photos and then walk up and scan it. And I was like, great idea. Well, I forgot. So I get to Ryan's and I go to scan my freaking phone in because he's like, hey, scan your phone in. Well, then I'm trying to log into the stupid website on my phone. There's not even an app yet. And I don't know if Stern's aware, but you can pretty much make a website an app. Like, that's a lot of apps are just websites in an app package. But they haven't done it yet. So it is a S show to try to get your stupid QR code up because, gah, their website on your iPhone or whatever phone you have that's tiny sucks to try to type on all this crap. So I finally get the QR code, take a screenshot. It's in my photo album. But then, of course, you take pictures and all of a sudden you like lose the photo in your photo album, so you have to favorite it. It's a pain in the butt skis.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. No, I don't like it. And I take pictures, like it's not like in my gallery, so it's a pain in the ass either way, because you're either scrolling through all the pictures you've taken from when you took the screenshot or the screenshot last, to then pull it up, and and then it's really easy. But they need to just have an app where you fucking click on the app and you enter your username and password. I don't want fucking anything else on the app right now. I just want to be able to type in my info once, save it, and then I just want to tap the app and I want to hit a little button and it just pulls the QR code. This needs to be less than 5 seconds or it's not fucking helpful. It's just detrimental. And they don't have enough achievements right now that I haven't already collected to where I'm like, oh, well, I got to log in. I gotta get online. It's just like, eh, 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 eh.
Yeah, I don't fully understand why they haven't done it yet, because like that'd be a way to
Money.
keep you. I guess it's quote unquote free. Yeah, when they start charging, maybe it'll be the thing. But like they haven't made a way for me to want to kind of stay in the Stern Connected Insider.
So we got to move on because we have a lot to talk about still. Like
Oh
we've
my
barely
goodness.
gotten through fucking anything. So we had to have a 30-minute conversation about flipping the pages.
So hot dogs will be next episode.
Hot dogs can be next episode. So we got a feedback. We got feedback from one of our listeners. Actually, two. Do you want to share the feedback you got from the one listener that wrote in, just to say hey?
Yes. So
give them a shout out.
Ray King had purchased a P3 after playing Ryan's this year, right? Last year?
No, I think it was this year.
Oh my gosh.
It was a while ago, though.
Yeah, it feels like a while ago.
And it was a while ago.
They got their P3. They picked a couple different playfields than what I guess I didn't really pick any playfields. They got different playfields than I did. And Ray has been kind enough to keep submitting emails to us to kind of just chit-chat and give us updates on their P3 experience. They've had a few problems with their crane on the heist, but he did say that Jerry and TJ have been fantastic doing video calls with them and helping them over the phone and everything to get the crane fixed. And that's all working now. So congrats to them for getting their game up, and I hope it stays working. And so I said in the email back to them. And they also said congrats to you and Chelsea for getting married at Tilt. But they were just checking in.
That was pretty great. Well, and we're super happy that we have listeners that check in. So Ray, thank you so much. And I can't remember your daughter's name, Ray. She was
oh my
nice,
god!
and
I'm gonna look it up.
I hope I bump into you guys at a launch party soon, because it'd be great to catch up. And if you both drink, first beer's on me. So, but besides Ray, and did you find Ray's daughter's name?
No.
I want to say it was Samantha.
Oh my gosh. You are going to get just slapped.
Next time I see him, for sure. I kind of deserve it. It's been a minute since we spoke to Ray King. Okay. So.
She even called you out on the email.
They did. Abby. Holy shit, it wasn't Sam at all or Samantha. It's Abby. So Ray and Abby, thank you guys so much for all the feedback and reaching out to us regularly. We're super happy to hear that you guys got your Multimorphic P3. And I'm very thankful that Multimorphic has been taking care of you as they do everyone, in giving you that world-class customer service that everyone deserves.
Do you remember, did they buy the Cosmic Cart?
They bought Lexi and they bought Heist.
Okay. I was talking to him
They
about that. And
played Cosmic Cart, but
yeah.
yes, they did not
He was
buy it.
like, do I get Cosmic Cart or the new game? And I was like, I don't know. I'm in the same spot.
The
all of
correct
them?
answer is both, Ray. Yeah, Ray.
Get a
The
second
correct
job,
answer.
God. I'm about to start working at Subway on overnights just to make this happen.
Yeah. Yeah, the correct answer is all of them. Fucking all of them.
And
But
hopefully Nick releases his playfield. There's also a new member to the Discord P3 group that said they were interested in making games playfields as well. So I hope more people make this kind of stuff, because this playfield is even easier than a homebrew pinball because the SDK is already there. Everything's already set up for you. All you need to do is work within the guidelines and it's done. And you can even have P3 make it for you. Just hit him up and see what the details and money are.
yes, yes. And again, Abby, I'm very sorry I could not forget you. I'm sorry I couldn't remember your name, not forget it,
He
because I
says
did do
that, but
that.
he wants to tranquilize my children. So just remember that.
Moving on. Uh, so, anyways, we also got feedback from Justin. And Justin kind of had, it was a
A
short story,
lot.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like a Halo
I think
novel.
it was, it was definitely a short story, at minimum. And hey, that's great because that gives us stuff to talk about. It allows us to be more interactive with our listeners. So,
Oh, totally.
guys,
I loved it. It
feel
was
free to message us or email us. Like, we're happy to talk about shit you want us to talk about. Like,
his feedback
I
though
don't
was like
care.
a solid episode. So this will be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So the first thing that I kind of got from it is he was kind of calling me out. Well, pretty much the whole letter feedback was just him calling me out. But specifically, he said, does not going downstairs mean you don't love your machines? Why can't you own a game because you like it / love it, but don't run down to play it constantly? Like, so his whole point is just because you aren't running down there to play the new shiny thing doesn't mean that it's not worth keeping. And I think that that's a fair point. But for me personally, I don't exuberate the amount of monies that would need to come out of my asshole to just continue to get new games all the time without selling old ones. So for me personally, if I want the new exciting fun thing that I think is going to replace the old busted ass thing, I need to sell it. That's of course figurative. Um, so I think for me, that's why that has to happen. But he's not wrong in saying that. I think that you can um, keep a game that you like because you like it enough. In fact, we're going to talk about that because that's something coming up down the list. But Parnell, what are your kind of thoughts about that?
That is how I've ran my basement for the last 4-ish years. Everything in my collection prior to the current or the recent shakeup, I had just kept. It was just, these are unique. Supposedly the internet loves them, so I've kept them. And I just did it, right? Like, I loved the themes. Ghostbusters, Tron, Lord of the Rings. Like, I had liked them, and so I kept them. I didn't do it because I played them a lot. I didn't do it because I loved the pinball machine. I just did it because they were unique, rare, quote unquote, and highly sought after, and fun in relative terms. So it's hard to talk about in a very black and white way, but I agree, has a point. Like, for instance, Tron. I would come down in the basement and I would actually turn Tron on because I knew it was it'd be a fast game. I was gonna say fast and fun. Pinball's not always fun. I get a lot of angry, but it was a
Agreed.
fast game.
Some nights I want to. There's some nights I want to just fucking throw Godzilla outside. Just like pick it up, just like throw it on my fucking shoulder, like not break it down or anything, and just chuck it out the fucking sliding door. Like pinball can be very frustrating. So yes.
Yeah, and I think like his one example is Ghostbusters. Um, do I miss it? Yeah, I actually do. It probably is the one machine I wouldn't say regret, but it's the one I miss the most. But it was the one machine I didn't want to play the most. And when I did play the new code, I kind of liked it and I kind of didn't. It was fun to have a fresh code update, but at the same time when I played it, and I'm not good at pinball. I do randomly have really good games. I had a really good game and it would not stop giving me extra balls. And everything's on default. I have all the posts, everything's on default. And I find that annoying. I shouldn't be able to get 3 extra balls on a random game. It doesn't fully make sense to me. Um, but I love the call out mix ups. I love the mix ups on being able to start different modes at different times. Although I didn't hate the original code, but I just didn't want it. The game didn't intrigue me to play it all the time. Do I miss it? Yeah, but it's more the nostalgic love of Ghostbusters. But like Ninja Turtles, I used to have Ninja Turtles. I used to watch the cartoon all the time. I played yours, and my first thought was, I don't like this game. So part of it really comes down to nostalgia and how much you like the theme and the music. Like Tron. I fucking love Tron Legacy, the movie. I love the music. I own the soundtrack, remixed and original, and the animated series soundtrack. Like, I'm in it. I'm glad they haven't made a third movie until it's actually quality. I want a third one, but I want it to be quality. I get it. I like it a lot, but the game, it's very basic, right? Which is fun to have a very straightforward, easy, not, it's not easy, but a very straightforward game in your basement. But I've had it for, I had it before I was married, so I don't know, 6 years or something crazy. And sometimes it's just like, you're over it. Lord of the Rings. I love that game. The callouts were amazing. But when you get to the Destroy the Ring a handful of times, it's the same. Like, it's the same process every time you do it. Now, Medieval Madness is the same, and Monster Bash is the same. But I think that they're fun while you're doing it. And also, Monster Bash is my current wife's favorite game. So it's different because I'm not thinking of selling it because I'm trying to get her to enjoy pinball with me. But after you own a few of these games for 6 years, it's like, it's okay to move them on. Like, am I gonna miss Tron? Yeah, I mean, I have stupid amounts of stuff for it. I'll miss it, but I think I'll have more fun playing something new.
Like a TNA.
And the TNA
Yeah.
hasn't gotten old when I've played it multiple times. And I own the
No, I
soundtrack.
mean TNA is definitely one of those one more game. Just one more game. I
It
need to have
is
a good game. It's the
stupid
king.
amount of one more game. It is the epitome of one more game.
I think I've said it before, and I'll say it 1,000 times again. TNA is a love letter to pinball, and you can tell. I think Scott absolutely knocked it out of the park, and I think it literally complements any game room. Just between the aesthetics, the soundtrack, the light shows. I mean, it's just fucking just all of it. Like if somebody tomorrow hit me up and was like, "Hey, I have $7,000 or $8,000, whatever the going rate of a TNA is, or 9 apparently for a nice one. I have that amount of money, and I don't want to get just like necessarily, I don't know, something mainstream, or I just want something unique, like TNA." Someone hits me up and they're like, "Hey man, I'm having car problems." I'm gonna be like, "Did you try TNA? Because that might fix your problem."
I
'Cause seriously, God, it's just so fucking good, and I don't get it. I don't get how people can own it and get rid of it. I don't understand.
I can see I can see how people get rid of it. Like it's if they have a tiny collection. Like if they had 2 games and well,
Okay,
hang on.
maybe,
I can see
maybe.
if they have a small collection or they think that they need ramps or they don't fully understand or they don't do co-op. I mean, I don't know how many times me and you did co-op when I was at your house. Not this
Yeah,
last
I
time,
mean,
but a bunch of other times. I mean, like I love doing the co-op.
we still played 3 or 4 games co-op the last time you came down when I was yelling at you to stop playing it.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, I mean, and yeah, I would yell at you, but then you'd start a co-op. I was like, well, I guess I'm fucking playing TNA. Like, it wasn't
Yeah.
like I just turned the machine off and I'm like, get the fucking reviewing the games you came down here for. Like, I still played it with you every time, and I didn't bitch. So no, if you have a collection where you have the space to have 3 games or more, I really think you're fucking sleeping if you don't have a TNA in the collection. That's my
Especially
personal opinion,
especially
but
if you enjoy the 80s like stuff where like me, I wanted to get an 80s game. I wanted a classic Stern or a System 11. And I had a Swords of Fear in my basement for a little while. And I enjoyed it, but then my buddy sold it. And then I got a Stern Galaxy and I fixed it up and then I sold it because it was well, it's not the most loved Stern electronics. And so part of me is like, well, if I get a TNA, it's like everything in an 80s game. Plus I get the light show and the music and the light show and the music and a
and the depth,
Powerball.
it's deep. I
It
mean, it's
is.
not super deep,
What
but
did we
it's
did
challenging
we
enough deep.
we got to like reactor 5 or something 6?
No, I think we either started, I think we finished 4 and we're trying to get to 5 on a co-op game.
Okay.
Just a 2-player co-op. But yeah. And then I think on my own I've gotten to like reactor 5 once. But
I
that
mean,
does not happen
if it
often.
was me and I had it at my house, I'd do a 4-player game all co-op and I would just play by myself. I'd love it. I don't
Yeah.
know. So part of me, this is like feeling my 80s. Now I don't love the price these are going for. I don't. I think it's ridiculous that they're this up, but I it's the
Well,
market. You
but
got
I
to
mean
pay to play.
yeah. Well, and that whole like cake and eat it, right? Like we tried at one time trading your Tron for a TNA.
Oh, we did. Yep.
Like straight trade.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Probably a good
let's
reason.
let's let's
Probably good that didn't
tiptoe
happen.
carefully around that subject, my good sir. Like let's tiptoe carefully, because you can't have your cake and eat it. Like so, but in either case, next question, because I think we nailed that one pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Does renting make sense if you wanted to have a new hotness for a short time, to maybe like
Oop,
figuratively cure that itch?
totally. I even asked Ryan. I wanted so when Nikki wanted a Monster Bash, I said, "Hey, the first thing I think I told you was like, hey, I need to rent this. There's none to rent."
Yeah, I mean, if you want a Stern, there's a very high likelihood that if as long as you want a Stern Pro, it should be pretty easy to find a rental.
Or
But
like
when you
our
start getting
crappy
off the
old
beaten
game.
path, yes, yeah. older games. Okay, let's not use crappy. But
I would. Like System 1s are just like plentiful. Like people would love to rent out their System 1 so that they could pay it off cuz a 1 month rent is like paid for.
right. I mean, I most of the rental places that I know of in Minnesota, it's generally Stern Pros. You might see a Jersey Jack in there, like one single sprinkled in, but 98% of it's Stern. So if you wanted a Stern game, man, you're fucking golden. But like CGC, Spooky, unless maybe like a Rob Zombie because somebody literally can't sell it. Most of those games that aren't Stern are going to be harder to find rentals for. It's not impossible, but it's going to be pretty hard. So I think renting does make sense if A, you can find it, and B, it's something you're comfortable spending. Because like if you're going to rent a game, you should really only get it for a month. And you should totally haggle and try to negotiate on price. Because like $450 or $500 for a machine for 1 month. I mean, if you can put 500 games on it in a month, then it's the same price as going to play arcades every day. The difference is you don't have the drive time and everything else. So if you can put a couple hundred plays on a machine in that month, like hell yeah, that's a great buy. But if you're only going to play it like 50 or 100 times, it's a terrible like financial decision theoretically, but it might tell you whether you really want one or not. So I don't think renting's bad. I think it just has a few like considerations you have to make, and you might have to ask around a bunch.
Yeah, I
So
don't
yeah,
mind spending that money up front to make sure I don't like or like a game.
right.
But where I live, there's nothing up here. Like there's a collector who is not active, and there's me, and there's a couple collectors as well that don't aren't active. How's it? I don't even know how to say it. Like there's not really community up here, so like I haven't been invited to someone else's house to play pinball beyond my friend. But there's a couple other collectors that just kind of stay to themselves. So like
Dude,
until
that's crazy.
there's a population to support it, but yeah, there's not much up here. But down in the cities, it's Banana Town, and there's 2 or 3 people that rent out games.
Yeah, I
But
still
I
can't
mean,
find people to come over to my fucking house though, except for you. Nobody wants to come hang out with me.
well, I call my
Play
friends and they
violin
all tell
for
me
me.
no. So I can't.
um, okay, so should you keep a pin if you love it and everyone else hates it?
Should you keep a pin if you love it and everybody else hates it?
Yes, that's the question.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
would agree with that to a point. I, I think the catch is it depends if you've had the game for a long time. I
mhm.
guess if you have had the game for a while, and a while's relative, but if you've had the game for a while, and whenever you are having friends come over and you get to enjoy doing like a full pinball night with your buddies, which I think is probably the most fun you can have in your basement with your clothes on. I think that does kind of speak to, you know, yeah, you shouldn't curate your basement for other people, but at the same time, if you brought something else in and people wanted to play it, like, is that worth a change up in your lineup? I guess
I
is
think
my only point.
I think it depends on how much you have people over. So like I used to run a weekly league tournament, so it made sense. But now we don't do that. And I've been talking about someone my mom asked me about it, and it was like, "Oh, maybe it'll be a once a month thing so that it's important to people so they don't just skip it if it's every week." But that's still like 4 or 5 people, and that's it.
Right.
Um and they're not pinball people, so they don't care. They just want to play a pinball machine. I could have only System 1s and System 3s and they'd be same happiness when they came over. So I don't know if it matters at that point. But to me, my new mode of operation is what is fun for me and the family. To your point, Ryan, how do I get my family to play pinball more often so that we enjoy my basement, or my game room section? And that is to have quote unquote shallow, fun games, which oddly enough are becoming all 90s Williams games and a P3.
Right. Yep. So, I mean, obviously we know my stance on it. I'll keep a game around if other people don't love it, but I don't know. It's weird.
Uh,
I think it just comes down to uh the specific title and if I end up not liking it as much because no one else likes it. That
all
makes
my
sense.
friends, all my pinball friends up here loved my lineup, and I've sold all the games that they loved. Tron, Lord of the Rings, Ghostbusters, they're all gone. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't have to tell you. I'd
Right.
love to be able to keep everything, but yeah, it just can't fit.
Well, it's space, but then it's also fucking money, man. Like this hobby's only getting more expensive, it seems
What are
like
you
every
talking
other
about,
fucking
Ryan?
day.
I'm a millionaire.
Okay, well, you can afford it. I can't. Because you're always upgrading your house and doing shit. I'm not doing any of that because I don't have $1 million like you do, apparently.
Oh yeah, you know me and my house upgrades. Doing it by yourself, DIY, baby.
So
Yeah.
Justin then went on in his love note to me to call out how I've gotten rid of 2 grail pins now and have
Mm.
not felt bad because I'm awful.
So
I'm,
what
of
are
course,
those?
summarizing
What are the Grail pins?
Turtles
Mm-hmm.
and Attack from Mars.
Mm. So here's the funny part, and then totally start
Or
telling your
maybe
story.
he's talking about, or maybe he's talking about Attack from Mars and Black Knight. I don't know, but yeah.
Okay, it'll be the same. So in that new little Facebook group we have, someone said that they wanted a Medieval Madness, and I'm like, yeah, it's okay, right? Like it's it was my number one want when I was new to the hobby because it was number one. Now that I've owned it, I'm sitting here like, well, it's fucking not worth 14 grand. That's ridiculous. I don't know what game is worth that much money. So it's
TNA
interesting. Yeah, I don't know about that. But it's
and the
interesting.
P3.
P3's worth 10 and a half, right? Which is the highest.
Well,
It's
yeah, but that's
interesting.
one game. So,
Yeah.
you know.
It's interesting that, I don't know, a game has this, uh, like the herd mentality can swing people, but I don't know. I mean, you've played it. it playing a game on route can be different than playing a game at your house. And
100%.
I I like I like medieval a lot, but I don't think I would pay 14,000 for it. I think that's ridiculous. It's a good game, but it's not like 14,000 because it's medieval. It's an easy 90s game. I don't know. I don't know. You have to literally play it, figure out if it's worth it. So like
Yeah,
everybody
I've
I've known,
struggled with that one.
I know I have a friend who's kind of out of the hobby now, but he had a AFM and it was bolted to the floor. And all of a sudden I saw it for sale. And it's like, what? And he's like, well, I'm done with it. So I have a really hard time with people like talking about, oh, it's bolted to the floor. Yet no, it's not. It's just you haven't had the right offer yet. Um, I don't. I have a hard. People who don't own it think it's the greatest game, and then when you own it, you think you come to realize that like it's just a game. Before I owned Medieval, I thought it was the number one game, and I thought it was the greatest thing on the planet. And then you play it and you own it for 8 years or whatever, however long I've owned it, 6. And it's like, yeah, it's all right. I mean, the upgrade kits definitely helped reignite my love for it. But it's just this game. Like, if you compared Medieval to me playing Godzilla for the first time and having that much fun, for half the price. Uh, why would I would only be buying Medieval for the callouts, right? And the theme. So it's very, it's going to be different for every single person. I don't know what to tell you. There's no right answer.
Yep. So then the final question that Justin had for us was, what are 5 machines that you own or would own that you would never, ever, ever sell? And I have my list, but there's a few question marks at the end of them. But I can firmly say I have 3 out of my 5. What about you, Parnell? Do you think your 5, you could safely say that 5, like if you had that, you might swap one out another 6 years down the road or something kind of deal, but for the most part, you'd probably hold on to that set of 5 that you have?
Are you talking about my lineup or this list?
The list.
Hmm.
Because you are right. Anything has a price, but there's some stuff on my list, anyways, that, I mean, sure, it's for sale, but you're not going to buy it.
That was my Medieval, right? Because of my legal issue.
Right, right.
However, now that the prices are ridiculous, I could probably make $1 on my game. So it's pretty exciting.
Well,
Um,
considering you more or less bought 2 of them, yeah, that's pretty incredible.
yeah. So my list, we've joked, is Totan, which is the game that got me into pinball, Medieval Madness, TNA, Monster Bash LE, and a P3. And
I mean, that's a solid fucking lineup.
that's a mixed lineup. Yeah. I my thing, I could have this list and I could be happy for years because that's
Yep, I think that's all we can say, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, like,
yeah. But I can't tell you
until
how
me and you
often I
come
would
into
play those
money,
games.
right?
Like in a
Well, and
year, I don't know if I'll be playing my games every day, right? Like, do they still excite me? I don't know. Maybe.
I think that we could say, if me and you each came into, I don't know, some amount of money or whatever down the road, I think that our 2 lineups we presumably would not get rid of, especially if pinball suddenly got like cheaper somehow just for us. I don't know how. I'm just trying to, I guess, connect the dots here, right? I think some of it's going to come down to, is there something that's new that's coming out that you don't want to sell something else but you have to, kind of situation, or were you just able to save up for it and then you can just add one? But like in your case, you're space limited. I mean, you could maybe get a 6th or a 7th and like throw it at somebody else's house to swap something else in. But I mean, for the most part, like you're pretty fucking locked in at 5 for your house, for your basement. And whether that's swapping out just someone else's house or selling it, I mean, it's kind of the same, but not at the end of the day. Obviously, one way you still own it, the other you don't, but it's not at your house. So it no longer is in that lineup. But for me, my lineup, like, we're going to use air quotes here, never, ever, forever lineup of 5 games. 3 of them, I'm 100%. That's the P3. I did call outs, and I'm hoping that that's not the last time we do call outs on that machine. I'm never fucking getting rid of that. It's like legitimately, literally bolted to the floor. Plus, it has all the expandability, new games that come out. They only cost chump change in comparison. That's easy. Um, Another one is definitely Total Nuclear Annihilation. And me and Parnell were joking earlier, and he's like, well, you'd sell it if somebody offered you some amount of money. And I'm like, yeah, probably like a Dodge Viper, maybe, just for that one game. Like, maybe then. But I mean, you're talking like $40,000 to $50,000. So unless that happened, I'm not getting rid of TNA. And Rick and Morty. Those are the 3 that like I absolutely fucking love. And Rick and Morty's been on a crazy price jump, along with TNA. It seems like in the last 6 months. So we'll see on those. But even right now, even if my Rick and Morty was the highest priced one at like $15,000 or $16,000, I wouldn't sell it. It's not happening. Even if it was up and somebody offered to pay me full price, no, absolutely not. The other two would be uh, I put presumably before it, but presumably Alien, and then I had a question mark at the end because I really, 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 really love the fucking theme. Like, me and Chelsea all over our house have xenomorph and alien stuff, memorabilia, everything. Like, we are actually huge alien slash xenomorph fans. So as long as the game does game things and not just broken things, and the game's code continues to get better, I could totally see it being a bolted to the floor scenario. Um, and then the last one, I honestly don't know. Um, I put Wizard of Oz just as like a fill in, and then I put slash TBD because those are the ones that I could comfortably say like are actual, like, never ever kind of situation. But I don't know. Wizard of Oz, I'm not so sure on. I mean, it was a really big factor in like pushing innovation in pinball. I think that was a really big like middle finger to Stern when it came out, because Stern was playing with dot matrix displays still, and Wizard of Oz over here like, hey, look at me, I got a fucking 27-inch screen over here. I'm fucking beautiful. Oh, Stern, that's cool. You only have on your LEs color changing inserts only for the arrows. That's super cool, man. Look at this. Our whole fucking GI's RGB. Like, I think it pushed. I think it pushed the envelope for innovation there, but I still don't know if it'd be a forever. I have 4.
That's a good point. Like, for you, Alien, how do you get, even if the game was like mediocre, how do you get rid of it? Because it's one of your favorite themes. Like for me, if they released Bride of Pin, not Bride of Pin, but Princess Bride, Harry Potter, Hydro Thunder, Legacy of Kain, like Tomb Raider, like, it'd be so hard to get rid of that game because of theme. Like, look how long I owned Tron or Ghostbusters. It took me forever to finally like loosen up my theme grip
Well,
and be
that's only
okay
when it
selling
was worth buku bucks more than what you paid for it too.
Yeah, but like
So,
if you bought a game today, I don't know how much it would go up once the market is able to get the chips to make games, right? Like once games are actually able to be sold, I don't know if the market's going to be this nuts.
I mean, it probably will, or it might settle down a little bit, but I don't think we're going back to where we were. Because
No, maybe not that far.
anybody that's a capitalist is going to say, well, why am I going to reduce my prices just because XYZ when they've already been historically selling for like this? I don't know. We'll see. I'm not
No,
an
we're,
economicist,
we're not getting to the
you
prices
know.
I paid for games, but like I think we'll be able
Right.
to get games where you can buy one after they've been out and not pay more than MSRP.
Maybe. It really depends how Stern ends up handling all this.
Well,
Because
we
I
have
think
to
that
actually
they,
get games in the market. Like there's not enough games in the market. So once the demand can be met, then prices might even out.
I mean, but I think it's almost beneficial to these distributors for them to purposely starve the market like this.
Yeah, but they're not
Because you
making
want to know what's
money.
better? Oh,
But
I
if you don't have
guarantee
it,
you they are making money.
but if you don't have a game to sell, I mean, if you're a new only, there's no games to sell. You're only getting like a couple from Stern, a couple from everybody else. Like unless you're selling used
Yeah.
stuff, which is where you should be, there's nothing to
No, but
sell.
no. Well, I'm
What?
kind of confused. What do you mean?
So if I'm a Stern distributor, how can I make money? Stern's not selling games. Like I get one or two Godzillas, then I'm waiting until the next run of whatever they're making. Like they're not making enough games for me to make a living.
Well, I think the ones that are doing it for a living are still getting by because they're probably selling 50 or 100 games a month. even just in deposits and pre-orders. And Stern's going to prioritize them over everyone else, and that's why, certain distributors, are getting 50 machines instead of 2. Because I can tell you
Yeah.
right now, I don't want to throw Melissa at CoinTaker under the bus, but I guarantee you, when they do a run, she ain't getting no 2 of any specific game. She's getting
No,
like
but she's
2 with another
known.
0 behind it.
I'm not a known person. If I was just a normal distributor for Duluth Superior, potentially I sell 10 games, not a year or month, but like every new game that comes out, I get, under 5. I can't make. Stern's gonna now cut me down to like 1 because they can't.
Right.
Because they're trying to give everybody else has to get 1 or 2. So until the market allows them to be able to ship more games, there's not going to be anything there. I mean, I think they lucked out on Mandalorian selling out because that game's not that great of a game.
I mean, I think that the distributors don't like the current situation that we're in. I think Stern loves it. I think the actual manufacturers love the situation we're in. I think distributors
They
are
raise their
accepting it.
prices, they sell out.
I think
Yeah,
right. They don't have to hold on to inventory anymore. As soon as they pump those machines off the line, man, they're gone. There's not a question. It's not a Stranger Things scenario where they have fucking 100 of them piling up in their storage area. Like, no, like they get done with a game, it goes in a box, man. That motherfucker's out next day, and it's going to somebody's house or some location. And I think I think a lot of these distributors are learning, for better and for worse, that if they purposely hold back and don't produce as fast as they could, it's more beneficial for them because then they don't have product that they're sitting on. Now, I mean, Spooky, since the beginning, has kind of had this thing where they don't build a ton of games. It's all limited release. So I don't think that they're having the same problem or seeing the same benefit necessarily as like Stern and Jersey Jack and CGC. I think the big boys are seeing that, well, I can just not produce as many games. I mean, fuck, for the longest time, American games or American Pinball, not American Games, American Pinball, they had Houdinis and Oktoberfests and whatever. And it seemed like that was the only thing distributors fucking had to sell. And then I think American got smart and they're like, you know what, fuck this. Like, we could have a bunch of games ready to ship, but if we create the same shortage that Stern's doing, what's going to happen? And now you can't find those games and people are begging. Like, I was talking to a distributor the other day that said he has 4 Oktoberfests pre-ordered. 4 of them.
yeah, but if
And
American
he has like
stops
3
making games
Houdinis.
to create scarcity, then they don't have employees working. So unless they're making games and putting them in a warehouse to save and trickle out, then they're not paying employees.
I think the belts were already tightened though at the
Oh,
beginning of
because the
COVID.
pandemic. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think the pandemic already set in motion the, like, our belts are having to tighten down. And then we get hit with the shortages and everything else. And I mean, it was a trickle kind of thing, but I think now they're all at the point where they're like, well, fuck, like, we could pump out more games, but we aren't going to be as profitable as far as, like, at the end of the day, when we're done building these 50 machines, they're all pre-sold. Whereas before, yeah, we could be pumping out 100, but we were only selling 50. Like, we weren't making as much money, but now we make more money with less people, which in turn saves us money, so we have more money. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, because I very much am on the side of the fence that I don't think that Stern wants it to go back to what it was before. I definitely don't think they do. I think the other manufacturers might obviously be more willing to, but I think Stern and possibly JJP are really liking where people are literally banging on their fucking doors like they never have since probably what, the 60s or 70s, when people just couldn't get enough pinball machines. Like, it's unprecedented how crazy the market is right now.
It is
And
wild.
yeah, I mean, the $2,000 price bumps on Stearns, I'm sure that's helping too.
Ugh.
But um yeah, I don't know. But anyways, moving on. The last thing I thought that we would talk about should be a quicker topic, is what do we use to move our machines? How do we move them? And what do we do when we need to move more than one? Because I thought this would be a quick, like 10 or 15-minute discussion max. And then, we'd be able to get through that. So, Parnell, what do you use to move your machines around?
Okay, so everybody's situation on where your game and how it has to leave your house or location is different. Luckily,
Yes.
I can roll straight out into my garage, out to my driveway. So to get a game out of my house, I just I take the game out of the line, and if I'm shipping it or moving it, I usually fold the head, wrap it, bring my I have sold my pinball lift, the like a real pinball lifter. I sold that and got a Harbor Freight 1,000 pound lift bench thing, dolly, and I modded it with so the handle could fold both ways instead of just forward. And I pump my game up, take the legs off, wrap the legs up, and I roll it right out. I also have a two wheel dolly. It's not the furniture one, it's a standard one. And it has the hard wheels, so it kind of screws me every so often going over bumps and stuff. My driveway is not even, and a couple of the what do you call those people that pick up your games when you ship them? Shippers or whatever, movers.
Yeah.
I swear have almost tipped a game over when they were leaving on a pallet walking on my driveway. So it's a not level driveway, but I usually park up close to my garage, and the lifter is nice because I can pump it up to the height of my SUV or truck bed, and that my truck I can pump the lifter up to the top, and it's almost at the beginning of the tailgate, so it's really easy to lift in. Then to roll it into my SUV or truck, I put a piece of cardboard down. I have a piece of cardboard that I've saved for a while that's long and pretty beat up, but the cardboard really allows the game to slide. And then I also have 1-inch PVC rollers that I use that are just enough to go the width of the game. That if I need to use those to either get over a hump, like in the back of, was it my Jeep Wrangler and a Ford Escape, where the back cargo area goes into transitions to a seat, there's usually like a gap. So I'll put like the PVC roller there, so it kind of helps bridge the gap, or just let the game roll in smooth, and then I pull them out when I go to leave. And if I need to take more than one game, my truck bed has taken a couple games. Otherwise, I rent a enclosed trailer if it's going to be a longer expedition. Otherwise, it's just been one game at a time. I think that's how I move them. Biggest thing is when the game is folded, the height of the game versus the opening of your SUV. And that is now trickier because new SUVs as of 2013 have started turning into city SUVs where they really slope that back hatch, and it's making it really hard to get games in the back of your quote unquote SUV.
I will echo that because to get a modern LCD Spike 2 stern into my Jeep Grand Cherokee 2019, I essentially have to put enough wrapping slip, enough wrap around it to where I'm like literally, it's like, I don't want to use the word scraping. It is literally rubbing the whole way in on the ceiling fabric of the opening of my Jeep Grand Cherokee because I measured it. I got the dimensions off of wherever the fuck I got them from, but it's still not, I mean, it's enough, but barely. I mean, it's tight. I mean, we're talking, if it was a eighth of an inch, a quarter of an inch more, it would not fit physically into that Jeep Grand Cherokee. So, um, yeah, you can measure all day long, but measuring it and actually fitting the whole pin in there are different. They are not the same. Now, if you have a 31.5 inch, I think, opening from the bottom to the top, I think you have a pretty good chance of it's going to be really, really snug, but you can do it on a new stern. A WPC Williams is nowhere near as tall. That's an easy slide in, slide out situation. The multimorphic just ain't gonna fit. I don't think they make an SUV anymore that has a large enough opening for a multimorphic P3, because I think it's like what 5 inches taller than a modern stern. Like,
It was
no way.
30. Yeah, it was 35 or 36 inches
Yeah,
tall,
and a stern
being
I think is
folded.
31
Yeah,
or
and it's
no, it's
creeping on
30.
32.
Well, it's
Is it?
whatever it is. So yeah, I thought it was like 30 or 31. But in either case, that's my machine when I'm hauling one pinball machine at a time. I'm using my Jeep as long as it'll fit. I have my pins in a basement, just like Parnell does, except I am on a split level. Now, I do have a walkout basement that is sliding double doors. I could go out and around the house and up a small hill to the front. However, I do not do that because it's a pain in the ass. I don't have a paved area, and I couldn't imagine even the small hill that I have walking up it in the middle of winter. I've walked up steeper slopes in the middle of winter, moving a pin outside from a walkout basement out to the front, but it fucking sucks. And I've dropped a game on myself more than once when going up a slippery hill, and my feet slipping out from underneath me, my feet throwing themselves under the machine on under the dolly, and then the whole front of the machine just comes slamming down on either my ankles or my like chest, stomach, and that sucks. So don't do that. Instead, I break my machine down in the basement, wrap it, put the head down, take all the balls out, um, completely get it ready as if I was going to ship it. And then I pull it up the 7 stairs that I have from the basement to the entryway of my split level. And then I go out into the garage, which is down 2 steps. So I go up 7 to go down 2, or up 2 and then down 7, depending upon if I'm bringing the game into the house or in the game out of the house. And I just use a normal dolly. I am really considering maybe next year buying a stair climber. Uh, Not because I need to, but because the P3, I'm planning on continuing to bring it to shows that are local in the area. And that's a heavy machine, man. That thing sucks to move up and down stairs. So if I can make it easy, I'll probably do that. And then the last thing, what do I do when I move more than one? Easy. Enclosed U-Haul. Fucking takes the guesswork out of it. I think you can get a, was it 6x12 enclosed U-Haul trailer for like $22 or $30 a day. Just do it. That's what I do when I go to conventions and I'm bringing 5 or 6 games with me. I'm going to U-Haul and I'm renting a U-Haul trailer, because otherwise it's just, you're gonna have a bad time. Yeah, I mean, that more or less is how I do it. Trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, measure doors before you get a pinball up on stairs and are trying to get it in / out of a house. Like,
What?
measure doorways.
Because the head is what, like 29 inches wide? It
Yeah, I think
it
so.
fits a 32-inch door when it's open, but it's a 32-inch door open is actually like 30 because the door is still there, and you can't, like, for me, I can't open my basement door all the way. So I only have every game I've brought in has been like just just fits. With
Yeah,
Big Buck Hunter, I had to take the door off the hinges because it was legit the size of the door frame.
yeah. When I'm moving pins in or out of the garage door, it unfortunately is not the larger, the 35-inch wide door that they have specifically to be
36.
able to get like 36. Yeah, I don't have the mega door to my garage, unfortunately. That's my front door, which is right next to the garage door. They're both right next to each other. I could go out and around that way, but it generally just makes more sense for me to just go out through the garage. It's tight, but that's why I put a lot of saran wrap, a gracious amount of not saran wrap, but packaging wrap around the head completely, and normally the whole pin. So that way, even if you kind of like rub up against something, it doesn't actually fuck anything up. So um, there's one thing I can suggest. You almost, unless you're literally using like half a roll for one game, there is no such thing as too much packing wrap, because that wrap can totally save your ass from small nicks and scrapes. And I think personally, you can really tell somebody that doesn't move machines around a lot when they're going to sell a game and they're like, yeah, I got a nick or a couple nicks on the side of the head. And it's like, probably unboxed that game, took it off the pallet. Nobody told you to wrap the game because they're like, oh, yeah, it'll be fine. And then you run into that scenario where you got a 32-inch wide door, and all it takes, man, is just one slight, just like, that's it. That vinyl's probably damaged. So wrap your games. It costs the $5 or $2 you're going to use in wrap will save your back box or the rest of your decals on your machine on the small stuff, like the small bumps into the door frame or something, because shit like that happens. And the more frequent you move machines, the more likely you are to like have in a scenario where you aren't like dragging it down the whole fucking door frame, but shit happens when you're popping it up and getting it like over the entryway door little thing down at the bottom. Like the machine can kind of rock one way or the other and quickly just like kiss the door frame. Like shit happens. So wrap your games. That's what I'm saying.
I have run into a couple of issues, and one of them is stairs that have landings partway up.
Oh yeah, fuck that. That's just no.
So
Take the
one of
machine
my
completely apart.
one of my buddies
Completely.
had a townhome, and it's gonna be hard to explain, but you walk into the front door, and there's a set of stairs, like I don't know, 8 stairs. It hits a landing, then the stairs continue going straight down into the laundry room, so it's almost like a bridge. But then if you take a left, it goes up a bigger staircase straight to the upstairs, like the main floor. But the landing was not all that big. So we would bring a game up that first mini set of stairs. Then, because it was on a dolly, we'd have to take the dolly out, bring it up the big set of stairs, turn the game, put the dolly back under it, which was tight because the game was up against the wall, and then we'd have to bring the game up the next set. So you also have to think about any landings on the staircase. I think you've known people that have that, and they say, "Oh, you have to move it. Don't bang up my house while you're moving it." But
Oh,
I'm not helping.
I went and helped a buddy pick up a Gilligan's Island. It was probably almost 2 years ago now, probably in Chicago, that he had won on an eBay auction. Caught somebody sleeping. And yeah, we showed up to this dude's house. And I mean, the guy was nice enough. But we get into his house, and it was a larger house. And he's like, all right, well, it's upstairs. And I'm like, fuck. And I'm looking, and it's one of those staircases where it like goes up, and then the architect or whoever designed the house was just like, fuck you, and does like a sharp 90-degree with like no landing space from the one set of stairs up to the second. And then there's another 90 degrees where turn with the same amount of like next to no space, where the stairs actually then attach to the upper level of the house. And that sucked. And yep, same thing. He's like, hey, so I know I probably could have had it moved downstairs, but that was just gonna be more money out of my pocket. And so you guys are gonna have to move it, and please don't nick my walls up. Well, I fucking nicked his wall. And he was kind of upset, and I was like, look, really tried not to, but how did the movers do it? He's like, oh, they just had two super burly guys that just like picked it up and walked it up the stairs. And I was like, well, I'm strong, but I'm not that strong. So you work with what you got, but some people, man, they get some weird shit that they have going on in their house, and that can suck. So be careful. At the end of the
It
day, no machine's worth fucking
broken
yourself
back.
up.
It
Yeah, or worse.
My one first pinball friend, his games were in the basement, which is totally fine. But at the top of his stairs, it went to a hallway, and so we had a problem getting a game up. So he'd have to take his door off. Then he would have to take the door off the room across the hallway so the game could go up. And what we did was we had an appliance like shoulder strap system.
Oh God.
So there was that 6-inch wide belt that would go, under the game, and then you would just use your shoulders would hold the weight, your hands would just hold the game from tipping left or right, and we would walk the game up the stairs. Then the person at the bottom would set the game on its butt on cardboard, and then he would spin the game and then use a two-wheeler to get it out to his garage. Now, when I helped him go to MGC, we brought 2 games, and that, I mean, bringing one game up and out, like, oh, not a huge deal, but like, it's a lot of work to get games up and out of the basement. So
Even my 7 steps. I moved, I think, 3 games out of my basement for 2D Con this year. And let me tell you, I can move one game up and down the steps, no problem. Like, whatever. I moved 3 games up and down those stairs, like back to back, more or less. That was a fucking workout. Like, that was a lot. That was a lot. So, yeah, I mean, be safe. Really, you should never move a machine by yourself. Always have someone,
oh, good point.
just going over basic stuff, but like, you really shouldn't move machines by yourself. Like, you need to have a spotter down at the bottom, even if you have a dolly, even if you have an electric dolly, like, you need to have someone else with you as a spotter, because it's not worth you or the game or anything else getting damaged because you couldn't take the time to set up someone else to be there for you. I've done it. I mean, I'm guilty of this too. But I also know people that have went to go move machines, and that machine has absolutely bit them back, and something slipped or fell or whatever ends up happening, and it ends up yeeting the game down the stairs and throwing them over the game. I mean, all sorts of stuff can happen. So like, you really got to be careful, because you can really fuck yourself up. Stairs mixed with a 300-pound block that you're trying to move up or down steps. Like, yeah. So be careful. Even to the veterans out there, you need to be fucking careful.
Anything else?
No, I think that's
Do you,
it.
do you think the furniture dollies are easier to move games than the standard two-wheel dollies like mine?
You mean like the appliance dollies?
Yeah,
Like mine?
I think yours is that where it has the strap that can strap around the game.
Well, I don't. A lot of time. Well, yeah, okay. So mine's supposed to have 2. One of them broke long before I got it. Uh, I want to get a new dolly, but that's besides the point. The ones with the built-in straps are great if the straps work.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And or you have the straps. A lot of times I just end up using a ratchet strap because I don't have the other strap. So you just kind of hook onto different areas and whatever. And you don't need to gorilla strap it down. You just need it to be strapped down enough to where the weight isn't going to shift around, even if you jostle the machine as you're dragging it up a step or something. But if you're talking about the difference between like the big blow up wheel, like 2-wheel dolly, versus like one that has the belts on the back of it to go up and down stairs, which I think is an appliance dolly versus like a hand truck dolly. Oh, if you're going up and down steps and you have a hand truck one with like the big inflatable wheels, don't even fucking bother. Like just skip that. Just go to U-Haul and go rent one for $20 for the day and use the appliance dolly, cuz getting up and down stairs without at least an appliance dolly is hell. Like those big blow up wheels are such a pain in the ass to get up and down stairs. It's I did it a couple times with arcade machines, and I'll never do it again, ever. Um,
Arcade
so yeah,
machines are a bitch. So like
I mean
Harbor Freight or Northern Tool has this appliance dolly that has the little wheels that kick out the back to be four wheels.
those are super cool.
They help
I
you on
wouldn't mind getting
flat,
those.
but they don't help you
Right.
on stairs.
I watched one motherfucker use that thing to go downstairs, and it was terrifying the whole time. But you know those little legs?
Yeah.
Like he was using those, like he kicked it out to where when it went down a step, like the front went down, and the like front wheels, the ones closer to the bottom of the arcade, were off the stairs, and then those little tiny front wheels were the ones that sat there and like fucking sprung, and they went like doing 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 doing, and then like you went down the next step and it was like the same thing. Like wasn't my dolly, wasn't my machine anymore. He was acting on his own accord, but they are convenient when you're on flat, pretty level ground. Because otherwise, yeah, you got to have part of the weight of the machine. You got to have it angled over so you have a good grip on it, so you can push it. So
Oh, I just remembered. My dolly can how do I say that? The handle can pull off and then readjust so that the dolly's laying down. So that mine has four wheels. There's wheels toward the top of the handle where you would normally expect your handle to be. And so the dolly can lay completely flat on the ground. So
mm,
I've many times rolled my games around where the bottom of my dolly is at the back of the game and then the game is
yeah.
sitting on the dolly to roll into my basement. That has been handy. Uh, so if you can get over the not having inflatable wheels, that dolly is pretty good, but it still
Now,
doesn't like lift up to my tailgate.
it is worth mentioning the inflatable wheels. If you're going on any surface besides carpet or hardwood or concrete, those inflatable wheels are lifesavers. Like if you're moving a machine like outside a house, like, out a walkout basement, like up a grassy hill or even like a nice landscaped hill, unless it has an actual cement sidewalk, you need two dollies then. You need one with big blow up wheels and then another one to be able to go up and down stairs if you have stairs. Or you're going to encounter stairs. And as a pinball guy, whenever you go to some house that you find a deal on Craigslist, it's never on the first fucking floor out in the garage. It's in the basement, or it's up on the second floor, third floor of a house, or it's at an apartment complex, the fifth floor up. Like, and there's no elevator. So, um, always plan to have a stair dolly, aka an appliance dolly, with the rubber belts on the back that are designed to help slide up and down stairs.
So at my office, there this guy, we had a pop machine brought up, and it was big, and he used an appliance dolly, and I was very impressed. Like I helped him, but I was very impressed at how maneuverable this pop machine cooler was with this simple dolly. And we got to talking about, because obviously my pinball machines were at work at the time. We got to talking about um, the powered ones, yeah, like the electric ones. And he had said a brand that I'm assuming a lot of people know about, and it wasn't the Escalera, because he even said, "Oh yeah, the Escalera is shit. This one's great." I can't remember it, um, but from our talking to a couple other people with different powered hand trucks, it sounds like there actually are a handful of brands, like two to four of them, and people have their own opinions on them as well, and they potentially operate better and in different types of stairs. So
Yeah, I
they
mean, I
they all
know.
could be everybody could have their own mileage.
Yes, your mileage will drastically vary because there's obviously the really cool hand truck that seems to the powered hand truck that's making its way around where you can literally lower the game from your tailgate all the way down onto the main floor,
Oh my god, yeah.
powered. And that's really cool. But I'm going to tell you right now, that thing probably weighs more than the fucking pinball machine. And yes, it could be critically helpful in some situations. But I'm also going to tell you that that thing, if you're just trying to go up and down stairs at somebody's house, that's going to be unmaneuverable, and it's going to be more of a pain in the ass probably than if you just had a standard basic appliance dolly that you were yanking up each stair with somebody at the bottom. I will say, however, I was impressed with the Escalera that I got to use for a short time because it comes with an attachment you can buy that's sold separately. Um, that's called the big wheels attachment.
Was
And
it
it
a real
literally,
Escalade?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it literally has an attachment where you just like take the big wheels and you chuck it onto the back. It allowed you to lean it back and then it would catch itself on four wheels. So you could then push it around, kind of like the Harbor Freight cheap one you were talking about with
Mm.
the four wheels. But then it also meant that if you tilted it back a little bit more, you then were using the big ass rubber inflatable wheels so you could go outside and go on like grass and whatever else. And then if you needed to take it off, it was like one button and it just like you push the button in and you just like popped it up and it just like came off. So that was pretty cool, but that's probably I think like a $300 or $400 attachment for your $2,700, $2,300 Escalera. I'm really interested, the more I have looked at it and spoken to a few people that bought one, at potentially looking at the pinball places, track, tread, power, lifter, thingy mabobber. I've actually been hearing some good feedback from that. The only problem with that one is you actually have to get the game up onto the main area. Like it doesn't have like a lip where you can just like tilt the game forward and just scooch it underneath the lip. Like you have to actually like get all four corners of the machine up and like slide it onto the dolly, if that makes sense.
What?
Because it has so the bottom of it where the machine sits is
Mm-hmm.
a metal frame and it has four caster wheels. So you can just like roll it around all willy-nilly and you could do like, you could literally rotate the game 360 degrees on the caster wheels.
Mm.
Well, to have that maneuverability, to be able to get it around like weird spaces and stuff, that means all four wheels are on casters, aka that means there's no lip to just like slide underneath the pin like a traditional appliance dolly. So that's the one drawback to that one. Um, but it's cheaper than the Escalera, and it looks like it's just about as easy to move up and down stairs otherwise. So I am thinking next year I might get a power lift dolly. I don't know what kind though yet because there's a couple brands out and everybody has their own. I do like the power lift that I like a lot of the features and ideas of the pinball places.
I'm trying to find the video of it. Here it is. This could start a thing.
What do you mean?
I think there's a thread on Pinside about this, bro. It's like the powered lifters. I see what you're saying now. Yeah.
It's convenient because if you got to get around like a tight landing or something, you could feasibly like wheel it around and make those 90-degree turns that traditionally you wouldn't be able to. The problem is that means you have to actually physically like rock the machine a lot further tipped to then like get it up onto that platform where it sits because it doesn't have just like a wedge lip you can just like push underneath the machine.
Oh, his demo video that Glenn has, he kind of skips putting the game on the casters. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that being a pain in the butt part. I mean, you You
Sure.
should be able to do it with 2 people, but if you're by yourself, oof.
Right, which is kind of what he pushes, is like, oh yeah, you could do it by yourself. And I guess you could, but it'd be kind of sketch because you gotta, those casters and that platform's probably 2 inches off the ground.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
And that's pretty far to tilt a machine forward to then like get the cart underneath it that's all caster wheels. Oh well, you can lock the caster wheels though, and supposedly they won't move. Supposedly.
So the one thing about his is that there's that handle that's like a stick sticking out above the tracks.
Yes.
I feel like my stairs at my house are super steep. So unless it lifts up, it looks like it would just hit my stairs.
You can adjust it in 3 positions for the treads angles.
Okay.
So you can actually have it at different angles depending upon the steepness of the stairs. But I don't know. I spoke to some people that have more than 4 steps, and they said that those handles. Oh, and those handles you're looking at, they fold in too. You're talking about those ones that stick out on the bottom when it's going up the stairs.
There's one that sticks straight out.
Yes, that handle. There's 2 of them, one on each side,
Okay.
for when you're pushing it around in its caster mode. Those both flip down.
Oh, okay. Because I was like,
You just
those
you
will
press
catch
a
a
little
stair.
button and you flip it down.
Well,
But
that's good.
supposedly they don't catch a stair even when they're out.
Well,
So says
if you've seen my stairs, they probably would.
maybe.
I've almost died going down my stairs.
But yeah, that it does look pretty cool, and I think he was selling them for like 1,500 at the expo.
Yeah, it was a
That's a
crazy good deal.
pretty fucking good deal. I think it's still like 1,700 normally though. Like it was only like $200 off, but I mean, not talking shit about Glenn or his pricing. Either way, it's still a really good deal. It's like I kind of want to get one and use it.
At least borrow it and use it to see if you like it. Because what is the Escalera? Fucking $3,000?
It's I think from uh what is it? Flipping Out Pinball, Zach Maney. I think
35?
it's like I think he was running a sale at Expo like 27 or 2,900 or maybe 2,500. I don't know. It's like $1,000 more than what Glenn's asking for his.
It's expensive.
Yeah. $1,500 is a lot easier to swallow than $3,000. So, yeah.
I feel like we could just
Go
get
splitsies on one?
some wheelchair, make our own.
No, I think we should just go splitsies on one.
We'll be like Timmy from South Park.
Perfect.
I
Well, do you have any?
I
Go
don't
ahead.
need one. What if I split it?
Okay, fine. I'll just buy one. But then when you're at somebody's house and you're like, oh, right, I'm trying to get this game and it's down a bunch of stairs, I'd be like, cool, you could split the difference and get a buddy to come help you move it.
Someday.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I think it is time.
Time for what, Ryan?
It's time to say good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night.
You can find us at Flippin and Mashing on Facebook, and you can email us at flippinandmashing@gmail.com. Bye, Ryan.
Bye, Parnell. Goodbye, listeners. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.